never read anything by her before, so I think I was really interested in reading one of her books, but I literally have no idea what it's about. It has a sailboat on the cover, so I think I was like, wow, this looks really fun. Hi, I'm Isabel. Welcome back. We are in part 2 of working through my Libby list. I posted part 1 a couple days ago, but basically my Libby Holds list has just gotten out of control. I have 35 holds available from my 3 different libraries, and I don't remember why I put most of them on hold. So we are going through piece by piece to learn more about the books that I have on hold and if I want to keep them on my list or clear up a spot for a new hold that I'd be interested in. Like I said last time, we're just focusing on my books. I only recently got into listening to audiobooks in the past month, and so I know why every single audiobook is on hold, but a lot of times the books that pop up as available, I'll click deliver later because I honestly don't remember why I put them on hold or what the book's even about. So we're learning more about my holds list, and we're going to go through the next 8 books. In the last video, we took 3 holds off my list, so that cleared up 3 more slots, which was nice. So we're gonna go through more today. Like last time, I looked up all the different books on my Fable app to get the ratings, just to give me a general idea of what the community thinks about the books. And then I'm going to read the description of the book and we'll talk about if I want to keep it or not. Okay, let's get into it. The next book on my Libby Holds list is 28 Summers by Ellen Hilderbrand. So I'm pretty sure I put this book on hold because, again, it was really summery. And when my family and I went to Puerto Rico a couple months ago, again, I was looking for a lot of beach reads. And I've heard that Ellen Hilderbrand is just like an iconic author, and I've never read anything by her before. So I think I was really interested in reading one of her books, but I literally have no idea what it's about. It has a sailboat on the cover, so I think I was like, wow, this looks really fun. Oh, I totally forgot. Okay, so this book has 4.12 stars on Fable, which is pretty good. And this is the description. It is a fiction romance book. When Mallory Blessing's son Link receives deathbed instructions from his mother to call a number on a slip of paper in her desk drawer, he's not sure what to expect. But he certainly does not expect Jake McLeod to answer. It's the late spring of 2020, and Jake's wife, Ursula de Gornsey, is the front runner in the upcoming presidential election. There must be a mistake, Link thinks. How do Mallory and Jake know each other? Flashback to the sweet summer of 1993. Mallory has just inherited her beachfront cottage on Nantucket from her aunt, and she agrees to host her brother's bachelor party. Cooper's friend from college, Jake McLeod, attends, and Jake and Mallory form a bond that will persevere through marriage, children, and Ursula's stratospheric political rise until Mallory learns she's dying. Okay, that's not what I was expecting it to be about. I don't think I'm going to take this one off my Libby list. I will look into her other books and see if any of those interest me, but it just sounds sad, honestly. It sounds like a sad book, and it sounds, I don't know, I don't really like cheating stories. It sounds like that might kind of be it, but if you've read this book and it is nothing like I think it is, please let me know and I'll put it back on my list, but I am going to take this one off just because it really doesn't sound like it's up my alley. So that's another slot open. Okay, the next book on my Libby Holds list is A Study in Drowning. This has 3.78 stars on Fable. I talked about this book a little bit in my May recap and June TBR video. This is on my June TBR. I heard a ton about this book before it launched. I think the cover was really gorgeous, and so it was getting a lot of attention. And then I literally heard nothing about it after it launched, and so I never really got a review or anything. So I don't really know what to expect. Again, it only has 3.78 stars on Fable, which usually would deter me, but it is a young adult book. And I think people sometimes will judge young adult books really harshly because they don't generally have spice scenes, which is totally fine with me. Like, I love a good spice scene, but like I don't need it in a book, you know? So sometimes people will kind of ding it for that. So let's read the description here. Effie Sayre has always believed in fairy tales. Haunted by visions of the Fairy King since childhood, she's had no choice. Her tattered copy of, I'm gonna say this wrong, Angahard, Emery Myrden's epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the Fairy King, then destroys him, is the only thing keeping her afloat. So when Mirdan's family announces a contest to redesign the late author's estate, Effie feels certain it's her destiny. But musty, decrepit Hurith Manor is an impossible task, and its residents are far from welcoming, including Preston. These names are hard. Including Preston Hellery, a stodgy young literature scholar determined to expose Mirdan as a fraud. As the two rivals piece together clues about Mirdan's legacy, dark forces, both mortal and magical, conspire against them, and the truth may bring them both to ruin. This book sounds really, really interesting to me. I'm definitely going to keep this on my holds list, and I'm definitely going to still keep it on my June TBR, which update I have been reading so slowly this month, so I'm a little worried about hitting any of my goals for the month. But yeah, this book sounds right up my alley. It sounds very like gothic, historical fiction, enemies to lovers. It's not to love. So I will definitely keep this book on my holds list. The next book on my list is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think I put this one on my list when I was looking for more like summery books because the cover like screamed summer. So I just literally added this to my list and didn't know anything about what it was about. So on Fable, this book has 3.99 stars. Let's read the description. Four famous siblings throw an epic party to celebrate the end of summer, but over the course of 24 hours, the family drama that ensues will change their lives forever. Malibu, August 1983. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party, and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone wants to be around the famous Rivas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of legendary singer Mick Riva. The only person not looking forward to the party of the year is Nina herself, who never wanted to be the center of attention, and who has also just been very publicly abandoned by her pro tennis player husband. Oh, and maybe Hud, because it's long past time for him to confess something to the brother from whom he's been inseparable since birth. Jay, on the other hand, is counting the minutes until nightfall when the girl he can't stop thinking about promised she'll be there. And Kit has a couple secrets of her own, including a guest she invited without consulting anyone. By midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames. But before that first spark in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shape this family's generation will all come rising to the surface. Okay, this book sounds interesting. It's about one night, which I always find those books really interesting, like just the idea that one night could change the course of somebody's life, and it sounds like it changes the course of all four of these siblings' lives. This book sounds really interesting to me, but honestly this sounds more like a book that I would enjoy in audiobook form, so I am gonna remove my hold from the book, but I will place a hold on the audiobook and definitely try to listen to it this summer because it does sound really interesting, and I love a good book that's set in the 80s. I don't know why. It's just a different vibe then. It's more fun. All right, the next book that was on my Libby Holds list is Beach Vibes by Susan Mallory. This book has 3.32 stars on Fable, and I believe this was the lowest rated book on my Libby Holds list that I saw on Fable. I'm pretty sure I put this book on hold because I think March it was so gloomy here, and it's still super gloomy here. Like Minnesota, take a hint, it's summer, but I was really craving like summer vibes, and so I think I saw the cover of this book and it seemed really beachy, really summery, and I was like, oh perfect. Again, put it on hold, didn't even look at the description because I'm just, judging books by their covers only apparently. So let's read this description. What would you do if you caught your brother cheating on your best friend? While Beth is proud of her Malibu beach shop, surf sandwiches, she's even prouder of her charismatic brother, Rick, who rose from foster care through surgical residency. She makes subs, he saves lives. Life takes a turn for the happy after she finds out Rick is dating her new best friend, Jana. Then Jana's handsome brother adds even more sparkle to Beth's days and nights. But when she catches Rick with another woman, like with, her visions of an idyllic family future disappear in one awful instant. Either she betrays her brother, or she keeps a secret and risks losing the man she loves and her best friend. I said it before, I don't really like a cheating trope, and I'm constantly, when I'm reading books, I'm always like, what would I do in that situation? Would I do what the main character's doing? And I can already tell you right now, I would tell my friend that she's being cheated on, because like it'll work out, and also my relationship doesn't necessarily have to do anything with their relationship, you know? I think I would read this and I'd be annoyed that we're even like debating what to do, because in my opinion I know what to do because I'm all knowing. But no, I'm kidding. So I'm going to remove this one from my Libby Holds list, which I'm disappointed because the cover was so cute, but it just really doesn't sound like a book that I'd be interested in. The next book on my Libby Holds list is Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. This book had 4.25 stars on Fable, and I'm pretty sure I put this on hold because I was obsessed with What the River Knows when it came out, and I still need to read the second book. This book seemed to give that same sort of vibe where they're like archaeologists, and it also seemed to kind of give the vibe of like The Mummy, if you've seen the original movies, not the new Tom Cruise ones. Their like enemies to lovers story in those movies is chef's kiss untouchable, and I always look for a book that has the same sort of vibe. So this is like a fantasy historical fiction book. I think it's an adult book too. Here is the description. Nice Victorian ladies don't run off to find legendary lost cities. One trifling little arrest shouldn't have cost Ellie Mallory her job, but it's only the latest in a line of injustices facing any educated woman with archaeological ambitions. When Ellie stumbles across a map to a mysterious ancient city, she knows she's holding her chance to revolutionize pre-Columbian history. There's just one teensy complication. A ruthless villain wants it, and Ellie is all that stands in his way. To race him to the ruins and avoid being violently disposed of, she needs the help of maverick surveyor Adam Bates, a snake-wrangling rogue who can't seem to keep his dratted shirt on. But there's more than Ellie's scholarly reputation and life on the line. Her enemies aren't just looters, they're after an arcane secret rumored to lie in the heart of the ruins, a mythical artifact with the power that could shake the world. Between stealing trousers, plummeting over waterfalls, and trying not to fall in love with her machete-wielding partner, will Ellie be able to stop the Oracle of a Lost Empire from falling into the wrong hands? This book sounds incredible. This sounds so good. I'm definitely keeping this on my holds list, and I definitely want to read it like ASAP. It just sounds funny and like silly and interesting. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to read this one, so definitely keeping this one on my list. The next book on my Libby Holds list is To Sir with Love by Lauren Lane. This book has 3.72 stars on Fable. And again, I think I added this one to my holds list back in March when I was like really craving summer, and I have no idea what it's about. So let's read the description. It is a fiction romance. The first selling point here is it's Love is Blind meets You've Got Mail, which I may be sold from that. This is the description. Perpetually cheerful and eager to please, Gracie Cooper strives to make the best out of every situation. So when her father dies just months after a lung cancer diagnosis, she sets aside her dreams of pursuing her passion for art to take over his Midtown Manhattan champagne shop. She soon finds out that the store's profit margins are being squeezed perilously tight. And complicating matters further, a giant corporation headed by the impossibly handsome but irritatingly arrogant Sebastian Andrews is proposing a buyout. But Gracie can't bear the thought of throwing away her father's dream like she did her own. Overwhelmed and not wanting to admit to her friends or family that she's having second thoughts about the shop, Gracie seeks advice and solace from someone she's never met, the faceless Sir, with whom she connected on a blind dating app where matches get to know each other through messages and common interests before exchanging real names or photos. But although Gracie finds herself slowly falling for Sir online, she has no idea that she's already met him in real life and they can't stand each other. I mean, we've all read this story a billion jillion times, but I eat it up every single time. I'm curious why it got such a low rating on Fable. I probably should have actually like read the comments. I am going to keep this one on my Libby list. I think summer is for fun, silly reads, and this sounds like the perfect book for that. So I will keep this on my list and try to read it this summer. The next book on my list, I'm giggling because I'm like, why is this on my list right now in the middle of summer? It is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrick. This book has 3.67 stars on Fable, and it's like a fiction, thriller, suspense horror book. Here is the description. When Louise finds out her parents have died, she dreads going home. She doesn't want to leave her daughter with her ex and fly to Charleston. She doesn't want to deal with her family home, stuffed to the rafters with the remnants of her father's academic career and her mother's lifelong obsession with puppets and dolls. Ooh, that's already like creepy. She doesn't want to learn how to live without the two people who knew and loved her best in the world. Most of all, she doesn't want to deal with her brother, Mark, who never left their hometown, gets fired from one job after another, and resents her success. Unfortunately, she'll need his help to get the house ready for sale because it'll take more than some new paint on the walls and clearing out a lifetime of memories to get this place on the market. But some houses don't want to be sold, and their home has other plans for the both of them. I literally have this on Libby tagged in my fall reads folder, and I just don't think I'm going to be in the mood for this summer. It also sounds like a little sad, like it's about them like grieving, and I think that would be a good book to read during fall, but for right now I need like more like happy adventurous books, and so I am gonna take this one off my holds list, but I will try and put it back on there when the weather starts to get a little colder. Okay, and then the last book we're gonna talk about today on my Libby Holds list, oh, it's another Grady Hendrix book. I didn't even put that together. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. This book has 4.05 stars on Fable, so a little bit of a higher rating than their other book. This is also like a fiction thriller horror book. Here is the description. There's power in a book. They call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grew up too fast. And they're sent to Wellwood House in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, to give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. 15-year-old Fern arrives at the home in the sweltering summer of 1970, pregnant, terrified, and alone. Under the watchful eye of the stern Miss Wellwood, she meets a dozen other girls in the same predicament. There's Rose, a hippie who insists she's going to find a way to keep her baby and escape to a commune, and Zinnia, a budding musician who plans to marry her baby's father, and Holly, a wisp of a girl, barely 14, mute and pregnant by no one knows who. Everything the girls eat, every moment of their waking day, and everything they're allowed to talk about is strictly controlled by adults who claim they know what's best for them. Then Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft, and power is in the hands of the girls for the first time in their lives. But power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it's never given freely. There's always a price to be paid, and it's usually paid in blood. Again, this book sounds really interesting, and it's definitely not as like fall, I think, as the How to Sell a Haunted House feels to me, but it sounds like not a book that I'm really in the mood for right now. So I think I am going to remove this from my holds list, but I am going to keep it on my TBR because it does sound really interesting. All the characters sound like really rich and like complex, and the librarian sounds like a badass, so it sounds really good, and I do want to read it, but just not right now. I think we took, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We took 4 more books off my holds list, so that's 7 free slots total. I think that's pretty good. We're clearing it up. Yeah, so that's all the books I have to go through today. Thank you again so much for listening. If there's any book that I talked about that either you've read and you really liked or didn't like, or that I read and sounds really interesting to you and you want to read, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. I will be doing a part 3, the final part of working through my Libby list, and that will be coming out soon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll talk again soon.